Hey everybody!
What's up?
So this is something new we're trying.
Yeah, you had made mention that you wanted to do kind of like an anime appreciation series.
Yeah, just kind of certain animes I like and things like that, and we decided why not start with one that I was not complete. It'd been a long time since I'd seen it all the way through, and my memory was very shot.
That's one of those things. It's once you see it at a certain point, it's pretty much ground into you.
Yeah.
If you see it at just the right age, like I did, it becomes one of the most traumatic and effective video movies you'll ever see about death and its repercussions.
We're talking about the one and the only Transformers movie that matters.
Ba-da-da-da, Transformers!
You could
Whammy guitar!
You could quote this movie in word for word, and you almost
Fuck yeah,
did
man!
The entire.
I can do this shit. This is no joke. One of my favorite movies. The animation, I love the animation in this. It's old school Toei animation, and I miss the
Marvel. It's a Marvel movie too.
Well, yeah,
Don't forget that.
Marvel owned the comic property.
Yeah.
To produce them back then, you had shit like Car Wash of Doom happening. But yeah, no, I miss this kind of animation. It's got a grit to it and a dirtiness that a lot of anime today don't have naturally.
Yeah.
Part of it is the old film grain that you would have transferred off of it, but part of it is the fact that everything in there is hand-drawn by somebody. Just every single animation frame, and it looks so goddamn gorgeous.
Yeah. Looking back at this, because I was seeing it later in life to where I can actually remember seeing it, there's so much I just noticed that was taken from that movie and used in other.
Well, to be fair,
stuff
it had been done in other movies, just not in a kids' movie. I mean, there's very much elements of fucking Commando and Cliffhanger in this movie.
Well, it's like with Blur, the whole talking really fast, running really fast. That's Impulse from Young Justice. He does the same exact thing.
Well,
He's
again,
like,
this isn't original devoted to this. It's voiced by the Micro Machine guy, and they got him specifically because he could do what he did.
Well, they imitate him in Young Justice.
Well, again, that's one of those things.
Then also the whole with RC where it was like, you need to stay by me, and then she jumps and covers him. She's like, no, you need to stay by me.
Oh, that's an old trope.
That was totally when Robin and Batgirl were falling. I got you. No, I got you.
Again, that is an old
really
trope.
Is, but it was
effectively
something that was brought all together.
I haven't seen this movie in close to a decade at this point.
And you could still quote every.
Motherfucker, I will quote this thing to you all goddamn day if I have to. No, what I couldn't figure out, and I keep getting reminded of, is the fact that there are female robots. Robots don't have a gender. They don't reproduce by
I want to know why
putting your salami in her meat locker, as the parlance goes. So I don't understand why there are female Autobots. Somebody in the comments will correct me and be like, "You stupid fuck! You call yourself a fan and you don't know how Autobots reproduce?"
Oh, the anger of fanboys.
No, it's just one of those things. And to be honest, it's not something I actually thought about until I started watching Adventure Time with BMO. And how the idea of male and female are completely and totally alien concepts to a machine that does not require reproduction the way anything else does.
I want to know why every
having
planet
that division makes no sense.
I want to know why every planet in the galaxy is robots except for Earth.
Well, because when you're super futuristic, that's where you go, is fucking robots. Who are you gonna have live on the junk planet? You gonna have fleshy things get crushed by giant pieces of equipment? No, you've got robots that transform into motorcycles and ride other robots that transform into motorcycles. You perpetuate the slavery existence of the motorcycle, not motorcycle people.
Yep, they could have beards and goatees.
And be voiced by Eric Idle, but yeah.
I totally...
You got your mind blown by the voice acting. In
Jesus,
this.
I didn't know Leonard Nimoy was Galvatron.
Leonard Nimoy's Galvatron in this.
Judd Nelson was the most useless Autobot in the history of useless Autobots.
Yeah, no, I owe Twisted Toy Fair Theater a lot to poking fun at this movie.
I hate
yeah, Hot Rod was far and away my least favorite Transformer.
There's a series that I really like Hot Rod in, so seeing him like this, it's just like, God.
Yeah, this was the Genesis.
Like
this was Batman in an airplane, crop duster airplane, hanging a Frankenstein monster before he became the Dark Knight. So, yeah, Hot Rod in this movie is pretty goddamn useless.
I'm helping.
Yeah, that's Twisted Toy for Theater's rendition.
I'm helping.
Yeah, Hot Rod jumps in the middle of the fight and he just starts screaming, "Optimus, I'm helping! And then Megatron grabs him and it's like, "Well, too bad for you, shit." All right, well let's start with breaking this down into an actual cohesive video rather than us just jumping all over the place. What were you expecting out of this going in? Because
not that much violence.
Yeah, this is.
It was so goddamn.
This is very much an '80s movie where PG meant, "Hey, parents, maybe keep an eye on your kid for this." Not saying he's going to see this and grow up and become a serial killer, but he might grow up and become a serial killer. This is fucking violent kids show revolving around
so much death.
There's so much death. I told you at the beginning, you're like, "Oh yeah, I know Optimus dies." I was like, "No, Optimus dies a hero. He dies a very noble death."
Everybody else
is just, Jesus Christ.
You're dead.
Hey,
let's pull some body from the wreckage. They're dead.
Yeah, the death of Starscream.
Oh my God. Jesus.
Megatron? Is that you? Here's a head. Bah! And he disintegrates the fucker. And it's just like, damn, man.
Starscream always had it coming. In every show, Starscream always has that coming.
Depending on which one he's in, he's written a little better for it. But okay, so you didn't expect so much violence. How did you enjoy the animation? Because like I said, this is some of my favorite animation
It's not
style.
what I'm used to. Like, I grew up on like 90s, late 2000 animation. Right. I still enjoy the animation style. It's, like you said, it's got a certain grit to it. Like, some stuff nowadays, it's like, it's so animated, it's almost annoying. It's like, I think the best representation I can give to it would be like, so I was going back and I was watching like the old Sailor Moon versus the new one, and the new one, like, it's just way too super animated. Like, their transformation little scenes are like straight out look like a video game,
right.
Like. And it doesn't even fit the rest of the show, and it's just like, that's too much. Like, why are you transitioning like to this video game style transformation and then going back to anime where all the old ones are just super cohesive?
Right.
Luckily, Transformers, like, as its graphics and stuff have evolved, it's never tried to do two styles like that, but.
Well, that's kind of always been a big juxtaposition with anime, especially, is the hand-drawn aspect versus CG. There are some that blend it well enough, and then there are others where it's just like, please don't ever go near a computer again.
this blows like my introduction to Transformers out of the water. Though I will say that my first introduction was Beast Wars.
Yeah, well, that's what you get for being a '90s kid.
Beast
I
Wars
grew up
was
dirt poor and was raised on reruns of '80s shit, so I'm
Beast-
very much part of the '80s crowd.
Beast Wars was good. Beast Machine sucked.
Well, that eventually turned into a giant hippie save the planet show, so
Yeah.
that's another story entirely.
Yeah, Beast Machine sucked ass.
Okay, so outside of an animation style that you weren't expecting to like as much, an enormous amount of violence that almost puts Temple of Doom to shame. And Temple of Doom has like 21 direct murders attributed to Indiana Jones. That fucker's violent. That thing is a hardcore horror movie masquerading in a PG. What else did you get out of this? As basically a first-time viewer.
Well, like I was saying, just how many tropes were used in, like, how Transformers did it first. Well, they did a lot of them together first. A lot of it they did better than anything I've ever seen. The whole Blur Impulse thing was just way too similar, though.
Yeah,
it
that blew your mind while we were talking about
like, that was the first thing I know, and I'm like, dude, Impulse just acts just like that.
Yeah, and I kept having to tell you, it's like, dude, it's the Micro Machine Man.
I don't know who that is.
Have you never seen a Micro Machines commercial?
Not that
Holy
I can think
shit,
of.
dude.
I grew up in the 90s. Like, I
Wow.
vaguely remember them, but I would
remember
have...
the Micro Machine Man? The Micro Machine Man, blah, 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 and it's nothing, it's him talking. I mean, he talks that fucking fast. And, yeah, it's just...
It's rap before it was rap.
well, anyway.
He's probably faster.
Now,
than
I'm very much in the opposite crowd of this. This basically ended up setting standards for me going forward, and it kind of became how I judged a lot of anime movies based against it. And we're including this as part of anime appreciation, whatever we're going to call this, because this is done by Toei Animation, goddammit, so...
Yeah, they're big. Still big, to this day.
You could say that.
Biggest.
I don't know about that, but yeah, they're kind of big. Dragon
They're
Ball,
big
Dragon Ball
fucking-
Z.
I know. See, that was my first exposure to anime as well. So
Dragon Ball
pretty
Z,
much
I have issues with. I think it's a little overblown for what it does.
Toei kind of sets.
But
the
that's
standards.
neither here nor there. Yeah, this movie really snuck in on me because every time I watch it, I remember something that I somehow forget, like the "oh shit" line. There's a wonderful line where they're blasting away from the planet and it doesn't work. The planet exploding doesn't work, and one of the characters turns to Bumblebee and says, "Oh shit, what do we do now?" And I'm like, how do I forget that's in there every fucking time?
I guess back then PG, you had one cuss word, I guess. I don't know.
No, man, PG meant parental guidance. That's when PG meant something. It's like, hey, we're not going to tell you how to raise your kids, guys.
We might drop
But you
a curse word
might
or two.
want to tell, you might want to be nearby just in case kids see some shit, okay? We're not saying you won't. We're not saying you will.
This is
Just saying you could.
This is
I mean-
more violent than any PG-13
Well,
I've seen in a long time.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is this is back when PG meant something. PG-13 was like a step below hard R's, and it's like, man, that was awesome. PG, Raiders of not Raiders of the Lost Ark, The Last Crusade. I want to say was the first PG-13 movie to bear that insignia, and it meant, hey, little kids aren't going to want to watch this shit. Don't bring anybody under 13. Over 13, you're probably going to get some cool shit. But then we still had PG where it's like, you're going to want to stick around for your kids. I mean, this is going to be a little more family oriented than some others, but there's still going to be some stuff.
I mean, now that nowadays the standard, like looking at the standards then and now for movies, like now it's just everything has a PG rating because everybody's so sensitive. And
Well, it's not that.
like
It's because
if this movie came out now, it would have PG-13 slapped on it.
Oh yeah, no, there's no doubt.
That without a doubt.
No, and a lot of that's a subject for another thing entirely.
Yeah.
The PG-13 rating board mess. I don't even want to try and untangle that web. But no, that's very much a big thing about this. Is you could get dropped off to a PG, and parents are just being parents. They're like, parental guidance. I don't know. He watched a dude get a shish kebab thrown into him while he shot people in a restaurant. What's so bad about robots? I'm not going to worry too bad. And then you have Autobots melting in a vat of acid, screaming their lungs out as they're
I think the
dissolved.
standard for this was we can't kill the humans, and it'll be fine.
That's probably it.
That like the whole time I was like, "There's no way that dad's dead." Like I don't think, like, I guess to them that's how they justify so much death. Is they're like, "Hey, they're robots.
that
We'll
leads
make more."
that leads into a couple of things that I learned very quickly after watching this movie. One was 8-year-old Sean realized that if Optimus Prime can die, there's a strong chance you can die. And that blew my little mind. I was like, holy shit! I'm vulnerable! If the universe lets Optimus Prime, a beacon of truth and amazing, die, I can sure as hell die. But, yeah, it also, there's a lot to be gleaned about this. It's very much a war movie. Because they have, like, all their friends dying around them, and they're like, we can't slow down to mourn anyone. We have to keep going or everyone is fucking dead. And so it's kind of an awesome message movie where it's like, yeah, death sucks, but you really have to keep going forward. So just keep doing that. All wrapped in the guise of selling toys.
There's just so much going on, like, in this.
That being said, when I was little, I asked my parents when I watched that, I was like, why did they kill off so many Autobots and Decepticons? And they're like, I don't know. I guess they just didn't hack it. And looking back, I was like, you dumb shit. They did it so they could sell more toys. That's the only reason they did it. They were like, yeah, you know all these people you love? Fuck them. They're out. Buy the new ones.
That's how it always has been.
It is, and it's that cynical portion of me that's grown up like that. It's like, yeah, that's exactly what it was, Sean. There was no noble reason behind killing Optimus Prime. It was so they could promote Rodimus Prime and Ultra Magnus toys.
Sucked so bad.
But yeah,
it's the same way. Like, to compare then to now, it's the same way how we might get a Power Rangers too. Like, it made its budget back. But they're saying we could get a sequel alone because of the toy sales.
Probably.
Because they, like, blew
Well, I mean, that's what Power Rangers has always been, is how can we sell toys out of this? We put in the absolute minimal amount of effort. And
that's what the Transformers movies are.
Yeah, well, that's the kind of the final point that we'll get to in this. But, yeah, I had something, and then you jumped in and I totally forgot where we were.
Sorry.
That's alright. So, oh yeah, that's what I was wanting to say is, because this was going to transfer, or transition into that, was how this has stood a test of time really, really well. And it has kind of morphed into this timeless portion of our culture, almost, about good guys and bad guys personified with robots that was initially just meant to sell fucking toys.
Yeah.
But now people look at it and go like, you know what? If I ever had a giant robot, he'd be Optimus Prime. And it's like, I can dig it.
I think that's why so many people nowadays are just disappointed.
Well, that kind of leads to our unfortunate need to talk about Transformers movies today, and how it's a little less.
Can we please just stop going to these?
Well, we have to go to review it. Hang on to those free tickets. We'll use those.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. I'm not paying. I have not paid to see a Transformers movie since the second one.
I paid for the first one because I was moderately interested. I kept seeing the imagery and I was like, man, I don't know. I mean, this looks all weird and shit. The commercials for it look pretty good. It's got John Turturro in it, Shia LaBeouf. I don't mind. They're getting Peter Cullen back for Optimus Prime.
I will never pay ever again to
Hugo
watch
Weaving is going to be Megatron. I would like Frank Welker back, but I'm not going to split hairs. He's off doing like animal noises and shit for Futurama.
I will never pay to watch another.
Yeah, I watched the first one. I was like, this movie was mediocre at best, and people are fucking standing up and applauding. I'm sitting there. I'm like, what?
I liked the first one.
Did the short bus pull in like 800 people in this fucking theater? What the hell's the matter with you? You're the reason we're getting shitty movies.
And then he went outside and there was a sea of yellow. Short buses everywhere.
No, they were just normal people who don't have good taste in movies. But yeah, after that I was just like, you know what, I don't think I'm going to watch any more of these. I'm just going to catch them on DVD if I can. I rented the second one with a free rental I had from my local video store, and I was like, this movie sucks ass. The third one, I borrowed a less reputable copy, shall we say, of somebody.
Did you Tommy's with the Japanese at the end?
It was Russian, but yeah. Yeah, we had a friend who had a copy of that advanced. And normally, whenever they cut off with the English translations and stuff like that, I'm like, man, you fucking lazy a-holes. I was like 15 or so, 15, 17 when it came out. No, I had to have been.
You weren't.
No, I had to have been older than that.
No, you were in your. I was almost 20. I was 18 when the first one came out.
So I was about 21.
Well, that was the first one. That was the third one.
That was like 2 years later.
The second one was like 2 years later, so it was
3 years later. So I was
been...
like 23. I was super fucking broke, and he says like, "Oh yeah, I have a copy if you want to watch it." I was like, "Yeah, sure. I'm not gonna pay money to see this anyway. I was gonna use a free movie rental when it came out." He's like,
"I watched it. I watched that, and then I think I watched it on Netflix." Later, and it was just like
I've only ever watched like 2 bootlegged movies deliberately. 3 if you count the Fantastic Four movie by Roger Corman. But
we're not going to count that because you can watch that on YouTube.
Yeah, you can. That's an awesome movie. You should go watch that. But
terrible graphics, great acting.
It is much like the Transformers movie. But yeah, I borrowed that, and like the only other one I had ever watched, and I had watched like really bad anime where they didn't bother translating or dubbing the last few lines of like an OVA.
Yeah.
And it'll cut in for the Japanese. I'm like, what the shit? Now I've got to rewind. I've got to put on subtitles and fast forward to the fucking part because it doesn't have chapter select. That pissed me off. And usually when that stuff happened, I was like, God damn it, I'm pissed off now. When I suddenly heard Optimus Prime start speaking, he was like, blah, 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 blah. I was like, I don't fucking care. I don't care what you just said, Optimus. I'm sure it was something stirring, but nobody gives a shit anymore. And then the fourth one I didn't even bother with. I was just like...
You haven't seen the fourth one?
I've seen it, but only because somebody else rented it. I didn't even bother paying for it or using a free rental. I was just like, you know what, if somebody else rents it, and sure enough a friend of mine did, and he's like, yeah, I'll watch it, I guess, whatever.
It was shit.
It was absolute garbage.
And everybody's like, oh man, it was so much better than the third one. It's even better than the second one. It's the return of the franchise. And I was like, I watched it and I was like, no, it's not.
It is better on technical aspects, but that's mostly because you don't have Shia LaBeouf running around going, "Wow! No!"
You have Mark
For like
Wahlberg
45
doing that.
minutes.
Oh.
He's very, very compressed in what he does. There's a lot of it in that compression, but it's not like the entire 3-hour runtime of the movie. And that's like the biggest problem, is the fact that it's 3 fucking hours.
To this day, that is not the first Mark Wahlberg sequel we will ever get. Did you know, fun fact, Mark Wahlberg has never done a sequel until Ted 2. Never in his career, and Transformers 5 will be his second sequel.
Wow. So, maybe Mark Wahlberg should not make sequels.
I like Ted 2.
I'm just going to say
I
that.
liked Ted. I like Ted 2.
Ted was fun. Ted 2 is a horse of a different color. But we're talking about Transformers right now.
I was just
And
saying, it's...
having gone through $100 million summer blockbusters with huge names attached to them. You got Stanley Tucci, John Turturro, Kelsey Grammer. You got
John
Deep
Malkovich.
Roy. You got Shia LaBeouf, who I actually don't mind that much.
John Malkovich.
You got John Malkovich.
Ken Jeong.
mhm.
Ken Jeong.
Ken Jeong. You got Megan Fox, who varies depending on your performance and mileage.
Mark Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg. And it's like,
Tyrese Gibson. You have a lot of people attached.
yeah,
to it.
you got talent attached to this, but it's made in the most blatantly cynical and obvious way that you're only doing this to sell toys, that it loses that extra sense of something that a lot of people are willing to give the original Transformers. And it's that level that tried to tell a story around getting you to buy toys. It wasn't just, now you can buy Bumblebee with peeing on John Turturro action. It was, you can get Bumblebee and he can help Optimus Prime fight the Decepticons in their noble battle. And it's just like, yeah, I can see this actually. They never actually went with product placement in their cars. They did very generic. There were people who have broken them down as to what they were. There are some pretty high-end cars in there. They got Ferraris and Lamborghinis.
But they were all generic, futuristic versions of those.
No, they were when they went to the Earth vehicles, they were very obviously supposed to be these very specific types. It's just they didn't have the ability to put the badges on there. And so you've got a Lancia Stratus in there that isn't called a Lancia Stratus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like now it's just like...
Lamborghini Countach, you got a Ferrari F12, and it's like, Jesus, these are some of my favorite cars.
And it's like, now it's like, they, you know...
Right, but each one fit their personality, and
now
that was one of the big things where...
Cool.
Yeah, it's just what looks cool. That was one of the big problems I had with Bumblebee when he first got announced. He's like, he's gonna be the new Camaro! And I'm like, Bumblebee's a scout. He's supposed to be very not noticed, and nobody pays attention to a Volkswagen.
I was about to say, yeah, like, Bumblebee should have definitely been, like, a Volkswagen, or, like, even if they wanted to go, like, with the new cars that aren't noticed, like, it could have been, a Honda Civic.
Yeah, something
no one
nonchalant.
notices, like, everybody drives, I drive a Honda, everybody drives, like,
Right.
a Honda Civic, or since Chevy was their spot, a Chevy Impala. Everybody drives Chevy Impalas.
Or a Leaf.
Yeah.
Something like that. But, yeah, that's one of the things I think the big Transformers movies have gotten wrong, is that they're so blatant in their product placement and their willingness to say, this is just a fucking shill for making and selling toys. What the fuck?
Oh, you mean like the Mountain Dew transforming monster that shot Mountain Dew because the Cube made him a Mountain Dew transformer?
Or the Xbox 360 Transformer that tried to kill a person?
Let's not forget the new envisionment of Wheelie as a big robot.
Yeah, you discovered this for me. So this is two versions of Wheelie that I hate with a passion, just for different reasons. In this movie, we're introduced to I guess he's an Autobot. He has an Autobot badge.
Yeah.
An Autobot called Wheelie, which is this really high speaking. Even as a kid, I was like, "Fuck off."
And now you know.
And now I'm double fuck off to this character. He serves no purpose. He didn't do anything. He's just there and basically, hey, yeah, here's a toy. But again, it's not like specifically said, or yeah, you can buy the Wheelie action figure and
He
you
actually
can ride
got-
on Grimlock.
He actually got voted the #1 toy that does not look like his cartoon at all.
That's entirely possible. But then you were very nice to point out that Wheelie in the Transformers movies is the leg humping toy monster truck, Decepticon.
He's a spy. He changed sides because he loves Megan Fox.
Well, yeah, that's one way to put it. But
Mark my words, Transformers 6 will be the return of Shia LaBeouf.
I don't fucking care anymore. But yeah, that's honestly the big
Wiki
point.
returns. That's the sixth Wednesday. Transformer Wiki return.
The return of the Witwiki.
Yes. Yes. We've had everything, every other stupid name.
I don't know. But yeah, that's kind of the big thing, and I know a lot of other people have pointed this out, and we're not new about this, so just forgive old man Sean as he goes on a bit of a tirade about how product placement can be very low key, and you can actually build a story around that product with. And it's very obvious that you could. Shit like G.I. Joe, the real Ghostbusters, not as good at that, but still, it was designed to sell a toy line. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, Transformers.
Thundercats?
Thundercats, not so much. I never really saw any Thundercats toys.
The newer one.
The newer one, probably. And that's honestly
Power Rangers.
I was never super into Power Rangers.
I was super into Power Rangers.
Really where it drew the line, and it's just like, you really don't have any point to telling a story. You're just here to sell a product and just hopefully cash in on that.
That's why the new G.I. Joe movies didn't do too great.
Right. But yeah, this movie has stood the test of time for damn good reason. If you haven't seen it, hopefully our inane ramblings have encouraged you to check it out, just so you can understand what the fuck we're talking about. If you've already seen it, you know how cool this movie is and how fantastically traumatizing it is to like a 6 to 8 year old child watching this and seeing robots melt.
I was fighting back the tears, man.
Like I said, that was the day I realized death comes to everyone.
It's so much more.
And then I heard that resonated in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with the death of Shredder.
Who didn't die? Who it took 2 movies to kill?
Yeah, that was my big problem with the second movie. Is like, wait a minute, we got a really badass line out of Splinter. Splinter, what was that about death coming for us all, and now Shredder's back? Really, we can't get Casey back in this? Okay,
We got Kino.
yeah, let's take Kino.
We couldn't even get the same actress for April O'Neil.
Yeah, let's take a different April O'Neil and Kino rather than Casey Jones. That's fine. But what did you guys think? Did you enjoy this movie? Do you think that it's a bunch of old man poopy because it doesn't have boobs and
like humping robots?
Hip things like the internet, and has a really stupid envisionment of what 2005 looked like?
Hoverboards for everybody.
Hoverboards, the planet looks really good. Doesn't look like there's any more goddamn war. Well, outside of the Decepticons pushing the Autobots shit in.
They figured it out. North Korea is the Decepticons. Let's go. We saved the world.
Well, guys, we hope you enjoyed this. If you've got an anime or something you'd like to see us do a review on, movie or show, we've got a few more in the works. Leave a little comment down below or hit up his Facebook, this is his show, and tell him what we should watch next.
Next one coming, I can already tell you, is My Hero Academia.
You're gonna make me watch that bullshit.
It's not bullshit. It's awesome. All right, guys. Until next time, we will see you guys later.
Laters.